All right, everyone. Welcome to the Investor Evolution podcast. I'm your host, Kimberly Hoyt. Today, we have a very special guest, Miss Jill Jensen. She has been an incredible capital raiser out of the gate. In the last 6 months, she has raised $2.5 million and she focuses on mobile home parks. So today we are going to dive deep into her world of capital raising. So let's get started. Jill, welcome to the podcast. I am excited to have you here.
Thanks. I am excited to be here, and we are going to talk about both of our favorite topics.
So first, I want to hear kind of your background story of how you came into real estate investing and how you focused on capital raising.
Here we go. Great question.
Do it.
So, long story short, I started in door-to-door sales, selling pest control. And I recruited teams, and then I had sales reps working for us. Fast forward, started our own pest control company. And when I say us, just my former husband and I. So training hundreds of sales reps, had thousands of customers nationwide. So I saw how a business could function with a lot of people, a lot of hats, and the advantages of having a team, not just trying to work by myself. And I got bought out of that company. And fast forward, I was like, what do people do with their money? Like, how can I get my money making me money? I'm a single mom. I'm smart. I have these sales skills from knocking doors for 8 years, leadership skills, like overseeing people. How can I real estate? Mm-hmm. A lot of people invest in real estate and they hold assets. And so then I had the same entrepreneurial mindset of like, okay, how can I incorporate what I know from owning a pest control company, an organization, to like transfer that into real estate? So the first avenue I went down, the hurdle was, I just need my money making me money. So I became a private money lender. We're in a community and we call it a PML, so private money lender. And instead of learning from a poor person that needed my money, I don't know how to underwrite, so I don't know how to vet the deal. So I went and found investors who were using their own money. And I was like, that's who I want to learn from. That's who I want to invest with. People that have had a lot of hard lessons that have learned before me. And the biggest piece of advice I give people before they lend on a deal is loan to own. Mm-hmm. Lend on a deal if you're not willing to own the worst case scenario. So how I overcame that was I was only lending to people that have collateral that's worth more than my loan. Mm-hmm. So worst case scenario, I don't get paid back. Well, I actually just acquired a different property that I held collateral that's still cash flowing. Okay, I'm okay if you completely flop on your fix and flip because I hold a different type of asset. Then I ran into another problem. Taxes. But I don't know how to underwrite and I don't want to. Okay, I'm going to do what I'm really good at. I'm just going to go find the person that does. And then I'll partner with them. I'll be like, look, I'll bring some money. You find the deal. And another piece of advice I give people is find the partners that are really good at their one thing. I had a woman the other day and she's like, I want to get in multifamily, but can you teach me how to raise capital? And I said, do you want to get into multifamily or do you want to learn how to raise capital? Pick one or the other and then go find the person that's going to do the other. Yeah. And fast forward, solve my problem by acquiring mobile home parks. Okay. And I found out this was like a little golden nugget. Fast forward from there, I joined a group and have been raising capital for a fund, and we buy mobile home parks. And at the end of the day, I'm like, I just want to solve the same problem for other people. I'm very passionate of helping women who are in a similar position. It's like, how do I get into investing? How do I do this? And I came from a business where I was on the doors. I worked with mostly men. and this is kind of a man's job, like world. So I wasn't afraid to like pave the way. So now I'm like, okay, who's the next woman in line that I can help?
Oh, I love that. I love that. So a couple of questions that come up. So yeah, going from door knocking to raising capital, probably millions of dollars already that you've already raised. And how do you feel like those sales skills that you learned knocking doors, how did that translate into bringing an investor to the table to put $100,000 down on a mobile home park?
Do you want to know what's really interesting? People are like afraid to raise capital. They're like, oh, I got to go get money for this deal. And I'm like, it's just psychology. Guess what? You're not selling them anything. You're helping someone else make money.
Yeah.
It's all it is a mindset of how you approach the person that has money.
Yeah.
Because it's all comes down to like communication skills. If I have a good mobile home park, or I know someone with a really good deal, and I know someone that has money and they're looking to invest, if I know how to communicate it well enough, it will raise itself.
Yeah.
Here's the biggest piece of advice. No one likes to be sold. Everyone likes to buy.
Yeah.
And everyone hates the fear of missing out.
Yes. Okay. So expand on that. How do you use that in your pitches to investors?
In my pitches. Okay, it's so simple, you guys. All you have to do is overcome the story the investor is telling themselves.
Yes.
You are the guide and you're helping them become the hero of their own story. Right now, they have a problem. They're in distress because they have money and they don't know where to put it and they don't know who to trust. Maybe it's a retirement account. They don't even know how to invest. It's a life insurance policy. And it's like, I heard you say something on social media, but like, I've never invested before. So how you're pitching someone is going to be very different every time. And it comes down to 3 questions that I ask at the beginning of every conversation.
Okay.
It's called holding the frame. So being in control of the conversation shows that you have authority and confidence in what you're about to offer them.
Love it.
So I get on a call. Now all my investors are going to be like, I know what she does now. So I get someone on a call and I always set the expectation of how long the call is going to be. We have 45 minutes. This is what's going to happen during the call. People are like, oh, cool. She's not going to keep me on the phone all day.
Perfect.
I can let my guard down. I can relax. Okay, I know what to expect today. And so then I'm like, okay, first, I want you to kind of explain where you are in real estate. So tell me your history. What have you done? Number 2, what is your ultimate goal when it comes to investing? And number 3, why did you want to get on this call today?
Perfect.
Now we're going to break down those questions and why I asked them and how you're going to use them in your pitch. Number 1, your experience. Have they done a lot of deals? Have they given their money before? Have they lent? If they've never done it before, okay, now I know how to overcome. I know the terminology to use and not to use.
Yeah.
Okay, someone's invested 10 times. I'm going to be talking about the projected IRRs and the cash on cash return and the breakdown and the underwriting. A woman that's never invested before but has $200,000 in a husband's life insurance policy that wants to invest, she just needs me to hold her hand and comfort her through the process and like dumb it down to 3rd grade level step by steps. Right. And so those are the things I'm going to be pitching her on. Or the other gentleman, you don't need a whole, just give me the juice of it, What's the meat?
Yep. So you're meeting where they're at, exactly.
Where they're at. And then I know how I'm going to close them later, or I know what to keep bringing up, or I know how to structure the call. Number 2 was, what is your ultimate goal? You want to come across as I'm genuinely here to help you with your goal. And then I want to see if we could collaborate. If it makes sense, awesome. If not, I connect with people all day. I probably know someone that can help you with your goals.
Perfect.
So I'm not here to pitch you on my agenda. I'm here to see if what I have aligns with your goals. So now I understand. I had just this week a woman that's like, I want to expand my portfolio. Well, mobile home parks aren't in her portfolio. That's why she's on the call. So I'm going to keep bringing that up over and over in the call.
Gotcha.
Someone else was like, I don't like taxes. I need to find something that can help with tax advantages. Okay, well, mobile home parks, they depreciate in 15 years. Bonus depreciation, and we're going to share that with you as an investor. So I kept hitting taxes.
Gotcha.
Woman, it's like, we just have so much money, we don't even know what to do with it. We don't have connections or relationships. And I'm like, genuinely, that's a problem for people, is we just don't know what to do with our money. So they need to know that they can trust me. So I was building more credibility with myself, the company, and my partners.
Yeah.
But yet I showed the exact same pitch deck, but in the same 45 minutes gave a completely different conversation. And the third question was, why did you get on this call? Reason I ask that is because they're verbally saying things of why they already trust me. Oh, I'm interested in mobile home parks. Oh, they just told me they're interested. They just told themselves. They just told their body, their aura, like, oh, I'm interested in what you have. Okay, you're like psychology planting the seeds of getting them to say yes and nod their head.
Right.
So that's how I open. And it's very interesting because they're very similar things I did on the doors.
Gotcha.
I sold over 1,000 pest control accounts knocking on random people's doors. And so I'm like, okay, I just need to change the pitch just a little. And then at the very end, the biggest thing, 5 words. If you remember one thing from this call, it's these 5 words. Let me just show you.
Okay.
Pitch deck. I go through it on my computer. And at the very end, no matter what they say, let me just show you. So I go to our website, you sign up right here, and I walk them through the tiny baby steps of what it looks like from right now until you get all of your money back. So it's very clear of what it looks like if they're to invest and they know like the exact steps, basically.
Gotcha.
And then from there, I'll just say, okay, remember when I said the thing about no one likes to be sold? Right. Everyone likes to buy. Like, you always feel better leaving a store buying something.
Right. 100%. Yep.
So how I do that, because have you ever pitched someone at the end? It's like awkward.
Yeah.
So do you want to do it? Maybe. Like, what do we say here? I just pitched you this opportunity and I don't really know how to end the conversation. And what I'll do is I'll say, I'm going to send you this pitch deck, our website. Think about it for the next 24 hours. Send me all of your questions. Let's just reconnect in 48 hours and you can give me an answer. Okay. Because I need to finish raising the capital. So if it's a good fit, great. If not, I'm going to go finish what I started.
Gotcha. And
what I did there was, a lot of people are like, let me just think about it. I don't know. And if, so before they even said that, I told them, here, go think about it. Right. I don't really need your money, but I also created urgency. You only have 48 hours to give me a decision. And I got to go finish raising the capital. So that's the FOMO. Are you coming or are you not? Right. You in or you out? Yeah.
That's incredible. I mean, those sales skills transferred incredibly, right? And your 1,000 doors of knocking, solidified that in your brain. So I want to go back to a couple of other things. So Why mobile home parks? Tell me, what is the appeal with mobile home parks? Why is this your one thing? And then we'll talk about your one thing as we go.
Mobile home parks are like this little hidden gem. And funny story, my daughter came to me one day and was like, Mom, do you work? I was like, yes, I do. I'm an investor. She's like, that's what my dad said. Because if you remember, him and I got divorced and we sold our company. Well, our kids weren't there for the 10 years we were grinding every day and knocking doors. They weren't born yet.
Right.
And so now we just are able to like work from home. And I was like, oh, great. How many kids are going to think money grows on trees? And so I did the lemonade stand. I said, here's $25. Go up, buy all this stuff, but you owe me 30 at the end of the day. There's this thing called interest. She's like, what if I don't make $30? I'm like, well, there's a thing called a personal guarantee, and we go to your savings account, or you have another lemonade stand, but you owe me $5 on top of that, and that's called a late fee. Success. She made $46. Nice. Reason I tell you that story is because I posted about it on a real estate group page, and I just said, hey, don't forget to invest in your kids. Mm-hmm. I invest in more than lemonade stands. Send me your deals. Someone reached out and said, I'm investing in a mobile home park. Do you want to do it with me? And I was like, mobile home parks? I don't know. Well, the gentleman hadn't raised rents in 50 years. I was like, okay, I don't know a lot, but he's charging $60 for rent? I was like, what's the comps? And he's like, 300. And so people that don't understand mobile home parks very well, we basically own kind of like a parking lot, and people park their houses on pads. You can just think of it like a parking stall. Mm-hmm. And so we're just renting the spaces people are putting their houses. We own the land. And it's not an RV park. An RV park is where you can like pull in a trailer, come in and out every weekend. Ours are mobile homes. So some of the things I've learned and the biggest reasons I like mobile home parks is, number one, we sell all of the homes in the park. Why that's significant is because we don't have to find a tenant because it's a person that owns their house. I don't have to fix any toilets because they own their own house. I don't pay for their insurance or their taxes because they own that house. So there's low overhead. Affordable housing is in high demand. So I'm in a market that's needed. There's low turnover because they own their home. They're not renting. The average person stays 14 years once they move into their modular home. There's high cash flow and high tax advantages. So, and very low risk because it's in a high demand. It's needed.
Right.
So those are kind of some of the biggest reasons.
Awesome. And so those are some ways that you can also kind of show your investors, well, the tax advantages is one angle, helping with affordable housing is another angle. So that gives you a lot of different areas. And then the other thing is, you don't have the tenants. I think you say like the tenants, the toilets, the what, that little saying. So
tenants, toilets, or termites.
There you go. Yes. You don't have to worry about those, any of those T's, because they are homeowners and they're just renting that land. So I love that model. And what I want to go back to is the one thing you talked about, like the one thing that they're good at. And like, I know you, Jill Jensen, as the mobile home park girl, so like, but I think that's important because when you're known for that one thing, you're going to, as soon as a mobile home park comes up, investors are going to think about Jill Jensen, right?
Yep.
And they're going to know where to go. And I think that's really important that you niche down to that space because then everybody knows where to go. And then the other thing that you've said from Squat Up Summit is that the other important thing is that everybody knows you, knows your name, right? And so speak to that as far as how that has helped you raise capital.
Okay, this is awesome. When I started in this industry. I read the book Who Not How. Figure out who can do it, not just figure out how to do it. And then when we went to Squad Up, they said, it's not who you know, but who knows you. Yeah. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's like the next layer. I just was searching for other people. No, you want people coming to you. Mm-hmm. So I was like, okay, I need to make myself known. And I'm known for two things. I'm a girl that raises capital. I teach how to raise capital, and I know mobile home parks. Mm-hmm. And then I had one layer deeper when I started elevating in my career and my business. And it got to the point of where I'm like, I'm wearing too many hats. Now, who can do it for me?
Right.
Okay, I need a VA. I need some assistance. And something I learned from Hunter Thompson when I went to Raise Fest, that was like a game changer, was he said, like we were talking about before we got started, your avatar of who you raise capital from. Yep. And I was like, well, people could buy fix and flip. Some people could do wholesale. Some people could do all of it, but not be very good at it.
Right.
Same thing with capital raising. You could raise capital from this person and this person, or you could get good at one thing, PAs.
Yep.
Or, attorneys or whatever it is. So like light bulb went off. And I was like, well, first of all, my avatar is investor groups. Mm-hmm. I raise capital from other investors, people that are already in this industry. And then my second thought was, I'm going to go find 10 avatars. I'm just going to go find 10 people that have their own avatar. I'm going to teach them how to capital raise so that they can get really good at the language of their avatar. I'll be like, look, I'll teach you the psychology of the sale. Now you go speak the language to your community or your group, Mm-hmm. And so then that's what I started searching for. Not so much the money, but the person that has the community of money.
Yeah, I love it.
And the thought of doing it outside of real estate people. And so I brought on someone who's really good at retirement accounts. She helps people with their self-directed IRAs. Right. And they're like, oh, we trust you. What should we do with this $200,000 in this IRA account? And so we're like, oh, invest it here. And so that was the next thing of like, who can raise capital for me? Right. Instead of just myself.
I love that. Now, so that's so good. And I love that you've totally taken the who, not how, and have applied it in so many areas. And I'd heard your lemonade story with your daughter, but I didn't realize that was the catalyst for the mobile home park. So that was really interesting. I love that. So you bring your investors in. How do you feel like, or how do you maintain those relationships so that they want to stick with you and invest with you? What is maybe a process that you do, or how do you foster that relationship?
What's interesting about that question is there's controversy behind how I do it.
Okay. I didn't know.
Some people are like, hey, you need to stick with business, and you do business here and you have a personal life here, and they don't intertwine. And that's not how I do business. I'm like, I want to do business with my friends. And so I talk to my investors outside of business. And people that haven't been like in our community, that's very foreign to them. Like everything's this way. And I'm like, yeah, but that's how I keep my investors around. Like I talk to them like a real person. And when they ask me about their goals, I'm like, if I could help them solve their goals, they're going to, want to stick with me.
Yeah.
The other thing is it comes also down to the deals. Mm-hmm. I invest in people, not just deals. And when I came in contact with this, I have different groups of people that I do deals with, but this one in particular, I had to really vet the person that I was raising the capital for.
Yeah.
And I said, because my reputation is on the line, if I'm going to raise capital, and if that deal goes south, all of the people are going to look at who they trusted,
right,
to wire their money to.
Right.
Here's the other thing. If the deal goes well and they make good money, people love to talk about how they're making money.
Yeah.
So they start talking to their friends. And by default, their friends come to me because they're like, I want to get involved in mobile home parks.
Mm-hmm.
And also, when I'm pitching them, I always plant the seed that they'll be investing with me again.
Okay.
And so they know, like, heads up, I'm like, yeah, and when you get your returns back, you just put it right back in the fund. And this is how it looks. And this is how it generates wealth. And so I genuinely make friends with my investors. I keep in contact with them, see how they're doing. I comment on their stuff on social media, things like that.
I love that. Well, and people want to do life and business with people they like and they know and that they trust, right? And especially when you're dealing with hundreds of thousands of dollars, if it's just, a zombie on the other end, why would they want to keep investing with them? But if it's someone who like knows my kids' names and their birthdays or where we went on vacation last year, then of course I'm going to pick that person, right? I mean, it's just natural
Right.
for us, I think. So I love that. Have you had any challenges in this capital raise space? Any hurdles that you've had to jump over as you've kind of hit the ground? I mean, sounds like you've hit the ground running, but I'm sure there's been things.
Oh, yeah. I look like I have it together. In the beginning, it was just like I was pitching and I was looking at like this deck and going through it. Well, I scheduled this call and this gentleman gets on. Well, then he has other people get on the Zoom too. And I was expecting it just one-on-one. And I was like, oh, okay, hey, all of these guys, what's up? And then I was like, so how do you guys know each other? They're like, we went to Harvard Law together. And I'm like, oh, okay. Like immediately there's this stigma of they're smarter than me. They know more than me. They're going to read through me. They're going to know that I don't know what I'm really talking about. And totally flopped. But guess what? If they all got on now, I could own the call.
Yeah.
And so it's like not letting the times that you don't do well. I look at every opportunity as like, what am I supposed to learn from that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that person wasn't supposed to invest. Oh, they asked a question that I easily should have known. And I was like, I don't actually know. And they're like, that's a question you should know. And I'm like, so I got back on the phone I just kept watching someone who was successful at it.
Mm-hmm.
And when I started pest control, I just found the top sales rep and I said, what do you say? What do you do? What do I wear? Where do I move? I moved out of state. How do you pick a neighborhood? How do you knock a door? How many hours? How many months? Like all the questions.
Yeah.
So same thing when it came to capital raising. I'm like, who's really good at this? How do you do this? What do you say? Where do you find your people? The whole thing. And so then it's just really putting in the reps.
Yeah. Yeah. And kind of going back to that who, not how, I love that you found the people who were doing it, learned from them, put your own spin on it and, your own Jill Jensen way. Right. But then it became your own and now you're turning around and doing that for others. And so I do love that, you kind of got that hand up and you're reaching back and helping others along the way. So I think that's really, really cool. Let's talk about mindset, because I'm sure as you're going through this realm of real estate investing and you have those hard calls, what are some of the things that you do to help keep yourself in that positive frame of mind?
At the end of the day, you're just talking to another person.
Mm-hmm.
And it comes down to like, I'm here to build relationships. And I'm also talking to people who are financially successful. If they have money to invest, I'm going in there being like, okay, what can I learn from these people too?
Mm-hmm.
So I ask them like, what is your occupation or what do you do for a living? Like, how did you make this money? Because a lot of times they have something that can help me too, besides money to invest.
Mm-hmm.
Like the things that I've hired that I've need help with have all been within people that I've built relationships with. I'm like, oh, I need a film guy. Oh, I need headshots. Oh, like anything you can think of. I've built these relationships. And so at the end of the day, I'm making friends. And something that has helped is having my calendar set days, if not weeks in advance. So I'm not like, what am I going to be working on tomorrow? It's already set. And so then you don't have to think about it or question, what should I do today? It's kind of already set for you. So that's helped me.
Yeah. So kind of that planning ahead. Perfect. And with those, yeah. And I think, like you said, at the end of the day, it's just another person. And I think that's good that you've had those reps of putting in, because you've probably knocked on many doors of many different types of people, right? And so, being able to, do you feel like you've developed an ability to kind of read the room, so to speak, and be able to speak to that a little bit?
Totally. But that's like what I get excited about is like, I took psychology. I want to learn why people do what they do. There's a really good book called Pitch Anything.
Okay.
And that's where it talks about like the confidence and being in control of the conversation. Mm-hmm. And really at the end of the day, it's like, what do you get excited about? And going back to like just reminding yourself of that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So let's go back to your questions that you ask your investors. So what is your ultimate goal? Like what do you want to gain from this?
My ultimate goal, I want to give back and solve the same problem I had.
Okay.
I was a woman that got divorced and I was left with some money and I was like, what do I do with this? Like, I want to help women who don't know much about investing, but they want to, or they're like, how do I get involved? It can be intimidating. So educating other women. Mm-hmm. And at the end of the day, it's like solving a rich person's problem and I'm going to make money. So people that have money want to find a place to invest it. And they also don't like taxes. Right. So I'm like, I want to be inside the real estate realm. So ideally, I just want to go out and solve the same problem for people in similar situations. And my niche wants to be towards women just because I can resonate with them.
Yeah. I love that. Do you know who Rory Vaden is? Mm-mm. So I heard him on an Ed Milet podcast, and one of the phrases, and it's stuck in my mind, like I can even see where I was driving when I heard this, but the quote he has is, "You're most powerfully positioned to help the person that you once were." And so I love that. Right? Isn't that so good?
I need that on my wall. It's like my motto.
It is. It's 100% what you're doing. And so, yeah, you're most powerfully positioned to help the person that you once were. So I love that your passion is for women, to help others who are like you, who are in the position that you were at, and have this money, or have money sitting in an IRA somewhere that's not doing what they were hoping it was going to do. And then you can turn around and say, girls, I gotcha. Like, let's work there. We can do this. Let me help you. So I love everything about that.
I feel like there's a lot of women that just need a little more confidence. Mm-hmm. And coming from another woman saying, here, I can help you. And I have 2 daughters, 6 and 9, and I'm very passionate about like educating them. Mm-hmm. They probably won't see my money when I die, but I want to leave them with like the knowledge and the education and being like, here's the tools for you to succeed. And so being able to give that to other moms, mm-hmm. I might sound selfish because I'm really trying to do it for my own kids, but I'm like, hey, I might as well bring other moms along the way of being like the lemonade stand thing. I'm like, okay, here's a simple way for you. And then at the end, I told my daughter, yeah, but guess what? You own your own business. After you pay me the $30, you don't owe me ever again. You like own your own business. So how many times has she asked to be like, can we do another lemonade stand? I'm like, sure, let's do it.
Let's do it. You need to help diversify and create other downlines of business.
Totally. Funny I do with my kids. New school year's coming up. Mm-hmm. So other moms might like this too. I pay my kids to make friends.
Okay.
I'm like, Okay, every phone number you get from a new kid at school, I'll pay you $1.
Okay.
I'm like teaching them to like go get the sale, go ask for their number, go talk to people you don't know and ask for something.
Right.
And I'm like, you can just get good at like making friends. And then I'm like, I'll give you $5 if you invite them over and then we can go buy sodas with it. Like, how can I get my child to go be the one making friends?
I love it.
Something I heard once was, in the absence of a leader, be a leader.
Mm-hmm.
And I told my kids, oh, having a hard time making friends. Like they switched schools last year. And I'm like, that's not their responsibility. That's yours to go make them.
Yeah.
So I'll pay you. It's a new school year. Well, I'm going to have a competition between the two of them now. You got to step it up.
I like it. I like that. No, that's good. I mean, it helps them get out of their comfort zone and kind of what you said, they're probably never going to see your money, but they also probably will never need your money because they will have created their own. So I think that's fantastic.
I don't want to rob them of like what I accomplished because it's like we were put on this earth to create stuff.
Yes.
And that's what it is about building this business is I'm like, I just want to go create something cool with like other cool women.
I think you've got such a great outlook and such a great trajectory for your business. So I'm really excited to see where this goes and where it launches off to. So any parting thoughts, anything that you want to leave our viewers with before we sign off, and then we'll talk about where to find you?
Yeah, just if it's something that intrigues you, don't wait to like get started and find the person that you want to become like, or somebody that you look up to, and then look at where they started or go ask them the questions because there are people that want to invest, people that have asked for my money, and I ask, okay, well, show me your track record. Why should I trust you?
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, well, I don't have a track record. So how am I ever going to raise capital without having a track record?
Right.
And I give the analogy of a doctor, potentially like yourself, where you don't walk out of school a surgeon doing surgery. You have residency and you're watching someone who's been years and years and years successful at this. And then they watch you do it until they feel confident in you doing it on your own. So when it comes to investing or real estate in general, find the person who's already really successful at it and see what value you can bring them, even if it means not making money right in the beginning.
And it goes back to the who, not how, right? Totally does. So I love it. All right. So where can we find you? How do we get connected with you when we're ready to invest in our mobile home park or your mobile home park?
We're going to keep it so simple. You just find me on Instagram and I will check my inbox. And my Instagram is I am a Jillionaire.
I love that. So where did that come from? Why did you get the I am a Jillionaire? I mean, I get the reference, but how did you come up with that?
So I wanted just Jillionaire and I wanted to see if it was available on social media. And I typed it in. Well, if you click OK, you can't change it for 6 weeks. I just wanted to see if it was available. And then I was like, it's like, you are locked out. You can't change it for 6 weeks. And I'm like, well, I guess I'm just going to own it. I am a Jillionaire.
I love it. I love it. You're manifesting. You're speaking it into existence. Perfect.
Oh, and now people are like, I can see it now. Who wants to be a Jillionaire? Or welcome to the Jillionaire show. Or like, you should see the things people come up with for me. So I'm going to roll with it.
I love it. I love it. Well, thank you so much for spending your time with us today. You've been a joy. I have learned so much, and I'm sure our audience has too. So thank you so much for spending time with us. And guys, until next week, have a great one.
Thanks.